Hello, everybody. Welcome to True Urban Culture. That is TUC Talk for those of you who need something shorter, I guess. In any case, I'm your host, Kenny Santos, and I'll be hosting with my boy, Liddell, the man who made this crap. But in any case, welcome to TUC Talk. And this is a place where we make sure Donnie has absolutely no power over what happens in the next hour or so. Well,
Dottie is just a happy um bystander,
Yeah.
spectator. I guess we
he
should
is
say.
part of my ritual abuse. In any case, so today's episode is going to be about comic books because they are literally everywhere. I don't go down the street without some nerd who has a girlfriend that's way too hot for him with like a t-shirt that says Spider-Man of all people. But in any
Queen Big Bang Theory.
oh god, but I
I've
hate
never seen that one episode of that show.
that show like it's kind of like the Simpsons that like it overstays its welcome and it just like slowly but naturally explodes. But in any case, before anything, we always start with the mental health not the chicken.
Mental health chicken.
I'm so hungry, my audience.
Oh,
Number
God.
one, I want to die. Two, my life is pointless. Three, nothing matters. Four, my life sucks now. Five, whatever. Six, I'm content. Seven, I'm grateful. Eight, I'm in a good place. Nine, I'm excited about life. That sounds good, is that new? And 10 couldn't be better. Well, since Liddell, since you haven't been here in quite a while and only have made sparse appearances, why don't you tell us how you're doing?
I'm at a
That
six.
what? That's
I
way
am
low.
at a six, bro. The
What's wrong?
past the past month has just been so shitty, just so shitty. But
You
I
have
said,
health and wealth.
huh?
You have your health and your wealth.
I guess. But see, I look at it like this, right? 'Cause I remember about like the last time I was here. Um, Can you made an analogy about some guy like rolling up a hill with a boulder, right? And like it's like
That
it
was a
like
while ago. Yeah.
yeah, I know it's a while. That's the last time I was here. So basically, like every time like he gets closer, then like it just comes back down. Like it's fixed. Like it's supposed to be that way. So that's kind of like how life has been for me over the past month. Like oh, like I have this boulder. I'm climbing up the hill. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get to the top, and then some bullshit happens, and then it's just like, oh, back to the beginning. But the reason why I say I'm content rather than like, oh, my life sucks right now, is because I've experienced this climb before. Like I've been in this position before. I carried this boulder before. I basically know how to handle it. I know how to maneuver around it. It's just like, oh, now I just gotta do it again. So that's basically where I'm at right now. I'm at a six, but I'm optimistic. I feel like October's gonna be a great month. It's my birthday month. My birthday is next Sunday,
It's
so
spooky season.
yeah, all that good stuff, Halloween and all that. But yeah, I'm optimistic about the month of October. I feel like hope in September. That was the worst month of the year that I've experienced. This has been a great year, and I'm blessed. All things considered. But yeah, that's what I'm at this week. I'm at about a six. But Noah Donovan and his brooding nature, I know he's gonna be lower than that. So
Guys, I'm licking Donovan. Look, look at Donovan.
I mean,
That means it's your turn.
I'm not. I'm not. I will say I'm grateful. Mainly because my camera and lenses came. So
that
along
was
with
Monday.
yeah, I mean the lenses just came. I brought the
Oh,
body and the lenses separate. So they just came. And going out with my morning jog, I'm now taking my camera and taking a lot more photos and more appreciative of nature and stuff like that. And plus, it's fall,
Well,
one
you
of my
judge
favorite
through
seasons.
Philly
taking pictures of the butterflies and shit.
Yeah,
of the homeless people asking you for money and the crack addict trying to
Such a
stab you.
such a Pisces.
there's nothing wrong with Philly.
Really?
There's a lot wrong with Philly.
Last time I was there, I thought I was getting mugged as soon as I got off the bus.
Well, that's anybody, you know.
Oh,
And by the way, shout out to everybody that I know from Philly. No offense to y'all, y'all cool people. It's just the city that you live in.
I don't know anyone from Philly. We have no friendships. I will insult you all I want.
No, I know a couple of people.
Is that all, Donnie?
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that
dude.
was all. I mean I
Jog, guys.
So he's
Jog.
grateful for his camera.
That's
Very
literally the only. I
very
mean, if you guys know me, you know the only thing I appreciate in life is art. I put art above humans. So
and
yes,
$50 journals.
yes,
Yeah.
and $50 leather bound journals.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not open that up back again. But in any case, more importantly, let's talk about me. I'm at a 6.5, I'd say. Like, yeah. No real complaints. I mean, my new tattoo is kind of itchy, and I won't be showing that online. But just imagine me taking my
You
shirt
already
off.
did.
Yeah, for you guys, not for the audience. There's like a hundred thousand people watching us right now, or
Right.
wishful thinking.
Manifesting.
But, other than that, I just came back from a trip up to Rainbow Falls, and I have to say, for a place that's dedicated to the LGBT, it wasn't really that gay. So I don't know why it's named after that. That was a joke, by the way. Um, in any case, the hiking went pretty well. And you know what? I know I come off as the douchebag who likes his philosophy and doesn't like spirituality much, but I've been really getting into this new Mexican cult that I've heard about, and it's not a cult like in the Kool-Aid sense where you have to like give someone money or and die the next day. But I've been learning about it, and it's actually pretty cool. It's called Santa Muerte, and it's just like, oh, hey, I like death. I like dressing goth. Let's look into this.
No, fuck the topic. Let's get into it. Like,
Well,
tell us more about this cult right here.
yeah. No, I call it. People think like a cult is like obviously bad, and that's just because of the whole historical context we have in the United States of like these preachers like accumulating power, whether they're Christian or not, and then they're worshipped like a god. Before that, in like the ancient days, there was you know how like the Greek religion had all these different gods.
Yeah.
Well, if your guy was like Dionysus or Zeus, you were part of the cult of Zeus or Dionysus. Like that just means you have this central figure that you focus most of
I
your life.
like that.
Yeah, no, in Hinduism, that's how it works. It's a like people call Hinduism this like big old religion, but like it's a many different faiths that are like interconnected. Like most people like probably just worship Shiva and Ganesh, and that's about it. But it's not like they do every single god, and if they do, they take forever because there are like thousands of them by now, I think. But yeah, it's just worship as a central figure, and in Santa Muerte, it's like conflated with like the Virgin Mary and whatnot, but has roots in like this Aztec death god that you know the Mexican Day of the Dead essentially, where they
Yeah.
like celebrate like people who have died. They go to graveyards. They
I
you
heard
know
of
have
that.
festivities. It has its roots in like ancient at some say in ancient Aztec practices where they would do the same thing. They'd have their own god and whatnot, and they usually come up as like a skeletal man or woman. And in modern days, it's dressed up kind of like the Virgin Mary, but it's a really interesting practice because it makes you focus on death and like you don't need to go anywhere else because death touches everything. It surrounds everything. It has control over everything. So if you're gonna focus on something, it might as well be death. And like I'm not someone who watches Game of Thrones very much, but I remember there was like a quote where he's like telling the little girl, there is no God but death, and the only thing we tell him is not today. And that's a little cute, but in this Mexican cult, like and I call it Mexican, but it has like reach around the world. It's more of like a friendly relationship. Like she's just there to help you through the process. She'll be there when you die. She'll collect you. And until then, every flower has to bloom before it like withers away. So she's someone you go to for like financial stuff, for like love stuff, literally anything you can think of to make your life better before you eventually die.
Cool.
Wow.
Right?
It's like,
Oh, interesting.
fucked up.
Yeah. I know it just sounds fucked up, but like from a guy who went into a funeral home for like philosophical reasons, it's right up my alley.
You're infatuated with death, Kenny?
Absolutely. I just came from a cemetery. I had no intention of going, and like the person I was driving was like, "Oh, let's stop at the cemetery, okay?" And I'm like, "Motherfucker, do you see how I'm dressing?" And for those that don't know, look what I had on. Imagine some douchebag wearing this to the cemetery when you're trying to grieve for a relative. Like he's getting
Oh
off on this shit.
God.
Like it was weird, it was awkward, but yeah, signs and messages and all that.
So all that, you're at 6.5, Kenny.
Yeah.
So
I'm not-
David is the highest of all of us.
Yeah.
Who
Only
would've
because
thought?
I have a camera.
So you did not have that camera. Where would you be?
I mean, I did get semi buzzed last night, and I cried about a man that I didn't never met before, my father. So
Oh,
there's
Oh
that.
damn.
But yeah, I mean, that was only the cranberry and vodka talking.
oh, okay. So that was your dad. Okay, because when you prefaced it, I was like, is he simping for some dude that like or something?
No,
I
no.
thought I thought I thought I thought he was gonna say like Donald Glover or some shit. I was waiting for that
I know
because
some
for
dude that's got into a relationship with someone else that you never even talked to, so you can't even be mad that they're in a relationship.
Right.
for those of y'all that checked out of balance this past week, we had a segment during our 2 minute drill where we asked if there's any celebrity whose underwear you would purchase, and this man to my right, dead ass said he would pay for Donald Glover's used
Yeah.
drawers.
Why?
I mean, if we're saving it for investment value, I mean, this dude's
Oh,
career is on the come up. But I was like, I wouldn't do it unless I was like investing in it. So
oh, okay. So it's not like a weird sexy thing.
no, no, no.
Oh, okay.
So would it be like an NFT for you where you just like, oh yeah, you have, but then you're gonna like sell it's like the next.
An
Yeah.
NFT of Donald Glover's ball sweat.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. I know there's somebody out there willing to pay that much.
yeah, because if it were me, what's it called? I would want Diane Guerrero's like I don't know, discharge in a thong or something. I don't know that'll sell for more than Donald Glover, among other.
Google, who is Diane Guerrero?
Oh god.
She's the black girl in The Walking Dead, right?
No,
Oh,
she's
that's Deny Good. Deny Good. What the
no,
fuck?
she's the brown girl on Doom Patrol.
Oh, I've never seen it.
That show is
Wait,
so you would
Diane.
love it, Donnie. Like, oh,
Oh wait. Oh, I know her. That's the chick from and also Orange is the New Black.
oh yeah, she was there too. But
So, no, Muslim.
no, you would love Doom Patrol, and it fits with our theme, which we'll eventually get to, which is comic books. But
Yes, let's get to it.
yeah, let's get right into it. And Doom Patrol is a great show. I absolutely love the first 2 seasons at least. But
Great
let's get.
segue, Kenny. Great segue.
I know, Jesus. It just comes. It just starts with someone's used panties, and it just ends with comic books.
Such a natural.
Why are comic book stories dominating pop culture? You know, it's been how long? Okay, so all this shit started when Blade was released in theaters. I know everyone says it
I
was
was gonna say Spider Man.
no, it was Blade. Blade started this whole thing. He came in the '90s, and that really it wasn't the first superhero.
Actually, it was before that because I know you're youngin, so you're 24, so I can see why you say Blade. But in actuality, it really was like if we gonna focus on the 90s, Batman, the
Oh,
Batman movies.
yeah. Well,
But
I guess in terms of Marvel's dominance, it started.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The first few Batman movies kicked that off, and they were like in the late '80s and '90s, if I'm not misremembering. But in any case, it started all those years ago, and it's really built up within the last decade or two to the fact that we're super saturated. Like before, it was like, oh, superhero on the lunchbox, that's it. But you're getting shows, you're getting comic books, you're getting movies, video games, books, all dedicated to superheroes in some form. And I'm just wondering what the fuck is going on? Because I remember growing up and we were just like Pokemon and shit, and that was it. Why?
Right, yeah.
Comic books, Donnie, tell me why are they dominating on me without my consent?
Um,
Without his consent.
the simple answer:
A safe word.
people just love it. I mean, actually, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say in the beginning people loved it, but now I think a lot of people are just what's the word I'm looking for? Not controlled, but like on autopilot when it comes to these movies now. It's like you've been invested so long that now you're like, oh well, I have to see how this story ends, or I have to see how the story progresses, or stuff like that. So I think in a sense, like yes, it was made for like comic book nerds and fans of like the comics and stuff, but now it's more so wide reaching all across the globe. And it's just like, yeah, it's on autopilot now for the consumer.
All right. It sounds like you're really detached from the whole comic book thing. There was never a point in your life where you were like really psyched about this crap.
I mean, I watched the movies and I watched the shows. I never technically read any of the comics. My focus was mainly on Artemis Fowl and Harry Potter.
Oh god,
Oh my god.
I hated Artemis Fowl.
God. And then they made a movie in Disney Plus, and yeah. So, but yeah, it was never focused in that realm of things. I think the first comic book movie that I actually saw was Spider Man. And since then,
Which one? Because there's been like 3 different reboots.
The only important one, Tobey Maguire.
I actually hate his Spider Man interpretation.
You
I hate it as well. I hate it
you
as
are
well.
both disgusting to me. The holy trilogy.
I actually like the Spider-Man that we have right now. I think he's more closely aligned to like who Spider-Man's supposed to be.
Really? Because he's not independent whatsoever.
Yeah, the thing about Tobey Maguire Spider Man was he played a good Peter Parker, but when you grow up and realize this dude is like way too old to be a Spider Man. And then you had the Andrew Garfield version, the too cool for school nerd who skateboards.
Yeah, that ain't making sense.
He played a good Spider Man, but a bad Peter Parker. And now you have a 19-year-old, I believe he's 19, Tom Holland, and I think he's like the perfect.
He's the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
I just don't like his performance, honestly. Well,
really?
For once, I don't feel like he has a good supporting character base. Like you have no Harry Osborn, which is important.
Yeah.
Aunt May was like downgraded. I know she's hot and everything, but like in the Sam Raimi movies, like Aunt May was a fucking G. Like she was doling out wisdom and advice left and right. This one is just kind of hot, and that's a gimmick. He doesn't. They changed the character of Mary Jane. Like I'm glad they did. I'm not bringing up the whole race swap thing, but like, what is she? What are her values? What is she going for? Like, and you're right. Sam Raimi did a bad job with Mary Jane in like the first 3 movies because she was just whining like an actress that never really made
The
her.
damsel in distress. Yeah, that's
kinda
who Mary
fucking
Jane is
hated
supposed
that.
to be.
Yeah,
Mary Jane's supposed to be the damsel in distress.
No,
But not like a whiny bitch like that. Like
no. In the comics, she's like really different. Like she, the first part, she was like a model, and like she was really independent. She was making her own money. She was like really sassy, sarcastic. She was like an independent woman of the '90s, and she came out back at around like the '70s or something. So she was like, look how people think Lois Lane is now back then, and now they're kind of going for, oh, she's actually also a reporter and she works for the newspaper, and fuck all that modeling crap because that's anti-feminist and shit. But yeah, like I don't know what they're doing with the character, and like they're wasting Zendaya's potential. Like, what are her character's values? That she's obviously smart too, but she's not a model or a photographer, so you're turning her into a completely different person. Like, what does she want to do with life?
I mean, what you said, really. I totally forgot your name for a second, Kenny.
Wow.
Pick
him out.
It's the vodka cranberry, Kenny. Don't take it personal.
But
block him.
What you said about supporting cast, it didn't dawn on me until you just said it. The supporting cast sucks in the Marvel MCU Spider-Man. I mean, Zendaya, for as much praise as she gets,
she's not Mary Jane to me.
I don't know if this is her acting or if that's the character she's playing, but she's playing as dull.
It's not the actor. She's a great actress.
So they made Mary Jane as dull, like
she has no values or goals.
Yeah.
Is that interesting? It's because like it's all centered around Peter Parker, and the reason I don't like this Spider-Man is like I told you, like he is not independent. He doesn't do shit on his own. He was looking for a daddy figure in every single movie so far. He lost it. He found another. He lost that one. And they still don't want to mention Uncle Ben? Like, come on.
But isn't that like a kind of like a refreshing take on this Spider-Man though?
I think that's what they were trying to go for. It's
the fact that he's basically like a lost kid, that's looking for direction.
I know, but like that's fine for like the first movies. Remember, he's not been in 3 movies so far. He's been in like 4 or 5. Like he was in those Avengers movies too.
He was in Civil War.
He was in Civil War. He was in his own movie. He was in Infinity War. He was in Endgame. He was in his second movie. he's gone through some shit and he's still looking for daddy, and like you have not addressed Uncle Ben, which is the thing that made him a superhero. Like, come on.
I mean,
Because what Marvel was trying
go
to
ahead.
do is just like skip that Batman origin style model. Like they didn't want to like we've had enough Spider-Man to know what happens to Uncle Ben. So
Oh,
they
yeah,
didn't
no,
want to address that. I
no, that's
think.
fine. I don't need to see him get shot for like the 15th time. That's fine. But
Oh, you want to see a reference or
just
something like
address it
yeah,
and be
I
okay.
like,
think
what's
I
his
think it's
motivation? Why is he a superhero? What's his motivation?
I
If they
think it's
don't
more.
address Uncle Ben.
I get what you're saying, Kenny, but I think it's more so to like because everybody agrees differently, right? That's Tom Holland calling right now. So, but everybody has their way of grieving, right? Like some people like they need to like some people move on quicker than others. You know, like some people choose like, hey, like I don't want to acknowledge this. I want to block this out of my mind. I want to keep focused on the next thing. So maybe Uncle Ben was like his like the father figure for him. Now he don't have that. Now he's looking for that in other people. He looked for it in Tony Stark. Then he looked for it in I think at one point I ain't seen the movie, but I'm assuming like he kind of looked at Mysterio as like a mentor at first,
Yeah, he did.
right?
Yeah.
And now in this upcoming movie, he's looking at Doctor Strange in under like the same light.
Yeah,
So he's
yeah, he's trying to get him to like fix all of this bullshit for him, kind of. But I'm not sure if he's like it's a, like a mentor relationship exactly.
Yeah. I think he's just like looking to him for
He needs a
guidance.
favor.
Yeah.
but the thing is he normally go for people that he's enamored by. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like
exactly. He's looking for a daddy figure all the time. Like he has such daddy issues. But my thing is like you don't ever tell the audience this throughout any of the 4 or 5 movies he's been in. You've never tell them, oh, he has a series of behaviors because he had a traumatic childhood. You don't just address it. Just for
um,
1 second, have him talk with Aunt May and be like, oh, it's Uncle Ben's birthday. Where like it could be like a post credit scene even. But
maybe
like
we might get that in this movie.
I know, but it's been a long time. And like, what is his motivation? Like, if that's not it, if they don't want to address that, why is he a superhero? He has no reason to be.
Because he
I
loves
think
helping people. I mean,
Why?
that's been shown in that short clip with Donald Glover when he's interrogated him per se, and they show that they have the same similarities in neighborhoods and they want to keep the streets safe and like that. So and that also I think also Marvel was trying to tie into like using people's past knowledge of the Spider-Man. Like we like everybody knows what Spider-Man is about.
yeah,
So
and
they're
plus
just yeah.
Yeah,
and
but that
plus
we
it's Disney as well.
true,
Yeah.
but
Like Disney don't want to harp on violence. You know what I'm saying? Like oh like
this
Yeah.
one gets dark.
my
You
Uncle Ben
remember,
got killed. You know
you
like
remember Captain America: Civil War? They were talking about like assassinating people. They killed Tony Stark's parents. They ripped off a dude's arm. They brainwashed and tortured him. Like they've gone to dark places.
okay, but with this movie is more so targeted towards children.
They're,
Because
that's
Spider Man is more like a child, like he's like the children's superhero.
I guess I didn't know that they would change like adult ratings from movie to movie because it's like one big universe. Like he was
Like
just in a movie about genocide. Remember, like Infinity War, like they genocide half the planet. He was in that.
he was, but was he really like the focus though?
No, he wasn't. Then they did him dirty that way.
You know, so I kind of look at like each Marvel series. Like I love the MCU by the way, but you
Okay,
could, but you could kind of like you. There's something for everybody within the MCU. Like if you're looking for that gritty story, you got the Captain America story, the Black Widow story. You're looking for that whole wholesome family, you know, family type of vibe atmosphere. Then you got the Guardians of the Galaxy. You also got You also got Spider Man. If you're looking for the whole like magic sorcery type of thing, that's kind of like reminiscent of Harry Potter. And you come from that world, then you got Doctor Strange. You got Scarlet Witch. You know, and Vision. You know,
If you're looking for like a Star Wars, you got the Guardians of the Galaxy, more cosmic threats. So
or you could
yeah.
watch Star Wars because that's also owned by Disney.
yeah.
And if you're looking for like more like stuff that's due to like religion and God, so you have Thor, and now you have the Eternals that's coming out. So
I don't know about Thor. Thor kind of got kind of like sci-fi real quick.
Yeah.
towards the end, but in the beginning, like it's
That
kind
was
of
a good
focused on
movie.
like on
But
Greek mythology, Norse mythology, you know all that.
well, yeah, I suppose like okay, maybe they don't want to address something that dark, but like if you okay, so let's say this
I
Spider-Man
mean,
does not have an Uncle Ben, like that never actually happened. It never happened. He was just raised by his single hot mom aunt the entire time. It's still like throughout those genres, each of those characters has a motivation. Doctor Strange, he was humbled because he lost his hands and he learned from a wise figure. Tony Stark, he saw that he was literally enabling terrorism. Captain America, kind of weird. He was just a good guy from the beginning, essentially. But like, he was in the middle of World War II. He was an orphan. His best friend was like in the war. He wanted to save him. Thor had to redeem himself. Like, they all have driving motivations, and this Spider-Man doesn't really have that. Since if you're not gonna do the Uncle Ben thing, you have to provide us with something else. Like, why is he doing what he does? Like, no one just is good.
But is he the only one in the MCU without it though?
In terms of like main drivers, like let's think of
Like what are the Guardians drive?
the Guardians are, well, no, they were pirates in the beginning. Remember, like
Space
that's what they did.
pirates.
Yeah, they still kind of are. They stay shit. But like eventually, his dad came in the picture and tried to kill his girlfriend, and like tried to, and was the reason his mom died. So they, since they're all like a close knit family, they're like, okay, let's help you get revenge, buddy. But like they all had like, it doesn't even have to be a tragic story. It just has to be like a motivation and drive. He doesn't have it.
Okay,
I
so
think it's
Now he does that. Tony Stark died, but from like the initial, like there's no reason for him to do what he does.
yeah. I mean, I think it's just something that Marvel doesn't really want to hash out another origin story. But I think everybody knows the main drive of like Spider-Man. He's a kid from
Not the children
Queens.
who are just introduced for him and who the movies are for. They don't know.
Well, I gotta disagree with Liddell when he said that the movies are tailored to kids because I don't think they are.
you don't think that the new Tom Holland Spider-Man movies are catered towards children?
Just because he's a child? No. Not to say that it isn't,
Just
but I'm
look at
saying
look at the supporting cast, like his classmates, like they're there for like comedic, relief. Either you can
I
say about a
mean
lot of characters within the
I was about to
MCU,
say that's
but
that's every MCU movie. I think it's because we never really saw like a high school type MCU movie, so we assume that it's tailored towards kids.
and plus the reason why I say this because not so much just the MCU, but like if you even like the animated stuff, like Spider-Man, like he even have a show right now on Disney Juniors. Like Disney, like they're kind of they want to market
Yeah.
Spider-Man a certain way compared to the other heroes in the MCU. Like he always been like the hero that's been catered towards like children. He's always gotten the most animated TV shows.
That's
Yeah.
actually recent if you think about it, because like in the comic books, he became an adult real quick. Like he's going to college, he's getting girlfriends, he's becoming an adult. Like it's only been since like Ultimate Spider-Man came out where we looked at him as a teenager again that we started wanting to see him as younger than everyone else. In the comic books, he's like equal to Captain America and Tony Stark. He's not really looking up to them per se. He's like sometimes he fights them and fucks them up because they think they're better than him or something. So I think that's the problem people have with this Spider-Man because we're seeing him starting from a low point and it's been a slow build so far. He's not that independent, and he seems too rich because some part of the appeal about Spider-Man was that he's a poor dude. Like he takes pictures and that's his only source of income sometimes, and he's always struggling with money. He's very human. He had to like build his own shit. He was like, "Oh, Tony Stark left you a bunch of cool shit. Have fun, buddy. You go to
Yeah,
science
but
school."
think about it. He's still in what is it? Middle school or high school?
He's in
High
high
school.
school. He's
High
going to
school.
college soon.
So he technically hasn't really got interested in like
He don't
we
work
really
for
haven't
Danny
seen
Bugle
that.
yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen that connection yet because we still seen him as like a kid from Queens.
Yeah.
I just think they view him in the same way they view Kamala Khan, which is Miss Marvel, the Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Kate Bishop.
Yeah, I just feel like they view him in that low class, like, oh my god, like the child superhero that's looking up to like the Avengers. Even though Spider-Man is more popular than the Avengers,
He is
always
easily the most popular superhero.
He's like
he's
the third
Marvel's
but
Superman.
Marvel's number one. He's
Yeah.
always the number one.
Yep.
So stop doing him dirty.
I just feel like it's mostly just marketing. Plus, you also have to take into account the Sony factor as well, because they basically sharing the rights to this character. So Sony, they already did the Spider-Man Origins with
And
the
they saved
whole
Sony
original
is like a
trilogy.
fucking jealous ex who
They
like just
they
wants like some form of control. Like, get the fuck out of here,
they
man.
did it with the Amazing Spider-Man. So like, oh my god, now we gotta do it again with Disney. Like, I just
Well,
feel like if they had more, if Disney had more control. No, not even so much Disney, but if Sony, they have more control. Then then it might be different. But since they're basically sharing the rights to this character with
But
Disney,
Sony fucked up
they
every
gotta play ball.
single shit that they had. Fantastic Four. It's like, remember
No,
like
that
a
wasn't
couple,
Sony. That wasn't Sony.
or
that's,
that was Fox, right?
yeah. And Fox is fucking up in their own right too. Like the last few X-Men were horrible.
I'm glad that they
I actually liked
resolved
it.
that.
Rise of the Apocalypse.
Yeah,
Of course
yes.
you did.
I mean, it was
What
better
you
than
mean? Of course I did.
Phoenix, but like it did.
Yeah, Phoenix was terrible.
When you're following Days of Future Past and you suck that hard, it's just like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, Days of Future Past and First Class are two of the best.
They were godly. They were godly, and then they
But,
fucked it up with the next series. It's like, what are you doing?
but I
They
like
tried
the
to
Rise
like
of the
rush it
Apocalypse.
out. Like they saw like they struck gold, and like they tried to build on that next generation of X-Men.
All right, I think we addressed the question in all.
Yeah.
Like we're talking. We did talk about like why people love these movies because like they're very human stories and whatnot. And that ties into the next question because like do you think comic books are good mediums for social causes and philosophy? Like I know we talk about like surface level, oh this shit is really cool, they have motivations, but like I know I know that comic book writers a lot of times like put different philosophies, different politics, different social causes in their story. Like a good example is like the original Dark Knight comic book. Like that was a very libertarian story. Like it was this guy who does not believe that the government can be there to help you, that the police aren't enough, that normal people have to rise up, arm themselves, and like be ready to take back control from like the violent, chaotic world that's out there. Like it was a very um, slightly right wing but very libertarian kind of way of doing things. So that comic, I forget his name, Frank's whatever, like put his politics into that comic.
Oh,
The comic book is famous.
he's very popular with dark comic books. I think if
He's
you're
tough,
talking
man.
about who Frank, he did the Killing Joke, right? Or am I mixing him
No,
with
that's
somebody
Alan
else?
Moore. That was Alan Moore. He's cool, but the guy who he did Daredevil really well, and I love Daredevil. That's probably like my favorite superhero.
Okay,
From
yeah, I know who you're talking about now. I just can, for the life
Wait,
of me,
Daredevil
remember
is your
his name.
favorite superhero?
Frank Miller. Yeah, his comics are amazing, dude. Like,
Yeah, he's
start
really
from Frank Miller to his current day, and the show was amazing. And now he's coming back potentially. I don't know if it's in the Spider-Man movie, but he's definitely coming back in a lot of the shows.
Everybody's getting their hopes up
Yeah,
about
I
like
don't think.
Daredevil
I
being
mean,
part of it.
Marvel did say once the deal is done with like Netflix and their in their contract, he is definitely one of the people that they're bringing back. They've came out and said this publicly, and I think Jessica Jones was another person they were bringing back.
They need to bring back Mike Coulter as Luke Cage, man. That show did not get a satisfying conclusion.
Literally bring everyone but Iron Fist, and you're good.
Yeah,
We don't need to.
yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking of those Netflix shows, like I know
Daredevil
this
is the
is
best.
not part of, like okay, you know that. I think Luke Cage was the best, and I'm not just saying that because like I'm black or anything like that. It's just that somebody that grew up in the South Bronx, also in Harlem, like I kind of like I enjoy seeing my area where I grew up highlighted.
Here's the thing.
Like that.
Here's the thing. Like Daredevil was the best because he had 3 seasons, and all 3 seasons, even the second season, which was like arguably the worst, was really good. Luke Cage had a really good second season. The first season had a lot of errors, but I feel that if it had like a third and fourth season, it would be better than Jessica Jones, no problem.
The reason why I like Daredevil so much was because of Vincent, the guy who played Kingpin. He was fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he played a very human. That's the thing. He made a human character. He had motivations. You slowly learned it. Like this is what makes good characters. But back to the question. Like for example, in Daredevil, like religion was very important, particularly in the last season. Like forgiving
Yeah.
yourself, finding forgiveness in God, finding your faith in God. Like this was something that was center point. So Donnie, tell us, like, do you think comics are good mediums for social causes and philosophy?
Yeah, touching on that Daredevil, yes. If it's done right, what you said about the mistrust in the government, it was done in throughout the Captain America's franchise. You saw it in the first one and the Winter Soldier, and then you saw it like come to a head in Civil War. You had two opposing sides. It's something that we've seen in America today. Whether you trust the government or how far you should trust the government. So yes, and even speaking on Black Panther, after watching the movie, I started to sympathize with Killmonger's or Michael B. Jordan's side of things. It's like, yeah, like we have this African advanced nation um, being silent through all these major black oriented movements and stuff like that, and you have the power to help and stuff like that, but you stand by and watch. So yeah, I think if done correctly, yes.
I actually liked Killmonger more than Black Panther in that movie.
Yeah, I really did too.
I don't know. Like, if I were Black Panther, I would have been like, "You got it." But I mean,
Because when he was explaining, when Killmonger was explaining his like his reason for it, I'm like, wait, hold on,
he's got a
he
point.
does have a point.
What did he do that was actually that bad? He stole from the museum. Oh, like the museum didn't steal first.
Yeah, like he essentially wanted to help out his people with like, well, he I guess he wanted to bring in another like a race war, but he wanted to arm like the black people of the world with like weapons and technology to fight their oppressors.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it was, and I was like, wait, there's nothing bad about that, and that's like one of the reasons why it's like that's a really good example of a good medium using social causes and philosophy.
Right. And people complain that I'm gonna let Liddell go because I don't even think he got like his own section in the first question. But like really quickly on Wakanda, it didn't make sense to me until really recently that they didn't help the greater African community and whatnot.
Yeah,
It sounds like bad writing, but it's actually absolutely 100% realistic. So when the Spaniards came to South America and Mexico and like conquered everything and took out the Aztecs, for example, um, what they did was team up with other natives, other native tribes, and like not exactly empires but peoples, and they helped them along with disease and other stuff to basically take down the Aztecs and whatnot. So you gotta remember, like we're thinking of like Africans and blacks as like this huge monolith. There is beef upon beef amongst people of different ethnicities and whatnot. Like for all I know, Wakanda probably had OD beef with like the peoples of like Nigeria or wherever. So of course they're not gonna like kick in to help in solidarity because we're the same race, so we're in this together. Like no man, you were subjugating me for how long? I'm gonna fuck you up with these white men. So
yeah.
it's like you can't really blame Wakanda in a sense, or at least the writing of why Wakanda did what it did. But Liddell, go for whatever you wanted to say.
I'll just say this: like, I don't like. First of all, these are all great stories, by the way. Like the Civil War thing, the war in Wakanda between Killmonger and Black Panther, like regards like who deserved the throne. But the most important is most definitely the whole story of the X-Men.
Ah,
100%,
like your right to just exist. It's
yeah.
kind of like relevant to like the whole segregation, and then that was going on in the 1960s between blacks and the whites. You had Professor Xavier that kind of represented the Martin Luther King figure, and then you had Magneto, who represented the Malcolm X figure. Two different philosophies,
Yeah.
balance like clashing against each other to figure out like, okay, like what is better for our group of people, So I feel like that's the best story. We
X-Men
need more stories like that.
crazy hard in the comics. Like there were good X-Men movies. Most of them were Wolverine movies, which isn't fair because like a lot of the other X-Men deserve the
I
spot.
can't wait for this video game.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
Oh my
But
god.
it's the same people who made the Spider-Man video game. If they didn't fuck that up, there's no way they can fuck Wolverine up. Like, but but back to my point, like when Chris Claremont came in, like in the '90s and took over the X-Men comics, he went fucking crazy. They talked about genocide, they talked about racism, they talked about religion and fascism, and sometimes both at the same time. Like he put these people through like the worst scenarios, and like, they're part of the Marvel universe, but they can never look for help for like the greater Marvel community because like it's established. Even when it comes to like Xavier's X-Men, you can only trust your own people, your own immediate people. It's not even just mutants; it's just people, mutants who believe in your cause. Because literally, the entire world is out to get you. They will mass produce ways of genociding you. They're afraid of you. They'll never understand. You only have your own people. It's just like the shit they go through in that comics is like traumatic. It's not like Spider Man and Iron Man are just gonna swoop in and save the day and be like, "Hey, they're okay." They don't do shit ever. That was like a major point in like the recent comics that like Captain America has never done shit for mutants, and now he wants to like come in on their island and tell them what to do. Like, it's really like Fox needs to give up the rights to X-Men, and I'm not even sure if Disney should have
I
them.
They
think they
did.
did. They
They
did.
did.
Uh,
Yeah.
They gotta make an X-Men movie
20th
and
Century
Fantastic
Fox
Four.
has also been dissolved, so
good,
they're no more.
good. I don't know if the MCU can handle that because you're kind of right in the sense like they don't get that dark. Like I'd say the darkest they've gone is probably like Falcon and Winter Soldier, maybe.
Yeah.
Or because they had like one death on scene, but like our audience is ready to see like an entire species of people being violently genocided because that happens in the comics all the time.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not
It
gonna
could.
happen.
I mean, we'll have to see how Deadpool reacts
Oh, yeah.
within the MCU because that will be their first
Deadpool never got
forte.
that dark though. I mean, he got into like
No, but
death.
in
Deadpool is more
terms
like
of
Deadpool's kind of like he's. I'm not. I said Deadpool like an anti-hero, but he's more like the Joker in the sense like these shit that
Cartoon.
happens kind of like it's comedic. You're like,
Yeah,
oh my god, like I just blew my head off. Ah, it's
yeah,
funny. You know,
but
yeah.
it's different.
I meant more so in the sense of that will be their first R rating under like MCU, so we'll have to see how they handle that and
Yeah.
go from there. But I think Daredevil and the Winter Soldier, I mean Falcon and the Winter Soldier were pretty as dark as they got, I think.
Yeah, and they weren't even that dark if you think about
Yeah.
it. Well, someone died. DC has been doing that in all their movies to the point that it's a joke.
You know, and for those of you that's it's like DC, I know we haven't really touched on DC that much, but that's one thing I appreciate about DC that they really go there.
Yeah.
Especially with the animated movies, like they really take it there. You know, like
They're
they really
animated,
just
yeah.
the
Oh no, the
violence.
animated movies are perfect. Like that
But
last one they did with like the Apocalypse War. Oh my god, that was almost better than most of Marvel's like live action.
and it's crazy because I feel like if X-Men they were in the hands of Warner Brothers, I think Warner Brothers would do a much better job with the X-Men than what Disney's gonna do with the X-Men.
Honestly,
I
yeah,
mean, we
Because if
can't
you
judge
because
that
you
because we haven't
yes we
seen
can yes we can
MC, but we
yes we
haven't
can.
seen MCU's X-Men take.
I think their take is gonna be better than Fox's. You know, especially
yeah.
towards the latter half. You know, with the Rise of the Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, it's gonna be better than that. But I don't think it's really gonna touch on as far like the whole like the government being like against mutants, like Kenny said with the
Well,
comment, the
It's really hard
genocide
to
against
do that
mutants and
because you
all
have
that.
such a history already, and like, how do you fit mutants in through all that?
Because look what we were just talking about with Spider Man, how they basically just brushed over the whole Uncle Ben thing. Like they just brushed past that, and that's a very important part of Spider Man's origin, his character.
no, I mean
Maybe X Men just
because
show up one day.
they
How are you gonna
because
do
they
it?
didn't want to hash out that story. They didn't want to over stimulate people with we
Okay,
already know what happens with Ben.
okay,
We've
well, and
seen
we're
like 5,000 Spider-Mans. They wanted to take a different direction and give a more okay, he's not in his first year. He's maybe in his second year of being Spider-Man or something like that. Like they didn't want to hash over that same origin story. So
but the origins
and
is
that's
the
what
whole
they're doing with
important.
Matt Reeves Batman. They're not necessarily going on the
I look forward
origin
to that.
story, but giving him a first or maybe second year as
Yeah, like
he's his
it's
detective or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be. I think he's
But
like what 29 years old as
yeah,
Batman at this
yeah,
point.
I'm
it's like
tired
his
of
first or
Batman.
second
I'm
year.
tired of Batman. I'm gonna say I love Batman, but that's all they do. That's all they
Yeah.
do.
But that's all. That's all that there is to him, though.
No, well,
No,
there's not all there is in DC.
yeah, no, I'm just saying like all they do is focus on Batman, and I'm sick and tired of it. They tried Superman again. They kind of like
Because
I don't know,
Superman
got
doesn't
cold
work.
feet. They got cold feet. I'm thinking
Superman doesn't work though.
Flash could be good. I'm tired of Wonder Woman. Like they fucked up the second movie, and the first one was controversial enough. But
Yeah,
Aquaman's okay. But maybe they'll do good with Flash. But it's just like they don't have like good characters. Like the comics are bomb. Like DC comics are probably better than Marvel comics usually. It's just like when you hear when someone tries to we got like a Greek goddess, a dude in a bat suit, basically Jesus, and a guy who runs fast. It's like what am I watching? Like if they could do it like Doom Patrol, Doom Patrol is crazy dark, crazy funny,
I hate how they
amazing.
I hate how they didn't include a lot of the other original like Justice League members. If I'm not mistaken, it's Martian Manhunter and I think Green
Hawk Girl.
Arrow and Hawk Girl and
And look at them;
They're not that important.
they were starving for a minority character that they threw Cyborg in there, and like Cyborg,
yeah.
He's a Titan.
he has never been like now he has never been in the Justice League. Like it's so weird. It's like you
They
would
could have used John Stewart.
right.
Yeah, or Green Lantern. It's just like, but you give him like a brief cameo, and it's just
I hate that because like whenever they want to introduce a minority character in DC, they just like make him a Green Lantern and shit. It's just like, okay, a Static Shock maybe. I don't know.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
they got nothing else. Like give him electricity powers or give him or make him a Green Lantern. That's it.
but I will say in the first seasons of this CW's DC shows, they're good. I haven't seen a bad one yet, but towards the later seasons, they start to like run out of ideas and stuff like that. So I will attest that to DC with their animated shows
Yeah,
and
they
TV
kill it with
shows.
the animations.
Hmm.
They kill it.
The shows
Like
are
I,
their shows are good too. Titans is ass, but the Doom Patrol like it every episode just knocks it out of the park. It doesn't even have that much action, and I love action, but like it's so goddamn good. I can't even sound like they're so goddamn
but
human, and it's wild, dude. Did you see the clip I posted on Instagram? Like they had a sex demon give birth to a baby that would have started the apocalypse, and this bitch just grabs it and shoves it right back up its ass, and that's how she saves the day. It was insane.
wow.
Whoa.
But I feel like because I'm a Marvel guy. Like I prefer Marvel over DC. But when it comes down to live action, especially now that they're in the hands of Disney, this is gonna be the one time I wish that they were DC property. Because I just don't think that I don't have faith in Disney knocking it out of the park. Because
Hold
you
on,
basically
let's.
you have to touch on the whole. Because we've already know like the whole mutants versus humans, kind of like the whole African Americans versus the white thing. Like that's basically the gist of it. That's kind of like the backdrop to how that story came about. I just don't think that. I just don't trust Disney to hop on that at all.
Why not? First of all, Falcon and the Winter Soldier touched on nothing but race.
I
And
ain't see it. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't watched it.
well, then watch it, and you'll change your mind because that.
So my opinion right now is from the fact that I have not watched that show lately.
Yeah,
But I'm
watch
gonna see if
that,
I
and
get
that
it
touches
later.
on nothing but race. And let's not forget, Marvel is also doing Doctor Strange in a multiverse of madness, and that's supposed to be horror. They tag it as their first official horror flick. So we'll
I
have
mean,
to see.
that don't mean that to it's on screen though.
Yeah, exactly. So we can't judge MCU's X-Men when it hasn't even been on screen yet.
I'm just going by just the company itself because this is the same company that basically shut down the Netflix division, and those are like the best stories in my opinion. The
I mean,
Punisher was great. Daredevil was
because they
great.
were bringing it into the fold, and plus their contract was running out. So
I don't think they gonna. I don't think they have plans of bringing back the Punisher. I
Yeah,
think the level of brutality that's in that show, Disney will not.
yeah,
It,
it
it
it's
is
not
what it
coming
done.
up. Like he'll probably be like in a movie. He'll probably be like have an appearance in some movie, like maybe
Yeah.
at most. But yeah, he's not getting his own solo anymore. But okay, let's move on to the last question because I don't even think we've really answered any of these. But let's just keep going. Um, oh, cool. What comic book stories do you guys want to see adapted? Like, we know Marvel hasn't covered everything. We know DC has yet to cover anything. But what comic books do you know that you want it on the big screen, man?
I basically just want a better version of Galactus than what Fox gave us with the whole with the whole Silver Surfer shit.
Oh
Like
God! Don't
The
remind
giant
me of that
space
movie.
vagina.
I just want a better stuff. I basically say this. I want this. Have you guys ever played Marvel Ultimate Alliance, the first game?
Yeah,
Yeah, when a while ago.
I want that story on screen.
that's interesting. Yeah.
See, like all the like low key being like the whole mission, like bring all these villains together. Like I want something like that.
uh, what was I gonna say? Donnie, did you have anything in mind?
Um, I would like to see Injustice.
Oh, that
I feel like that could be an interesting concept.
is
Just
Just
animated.
play the video game.
yeah, I was gonna say they already have the video game, but I would like to see like the special effects and a more live action of it, or Black Canary, not that godforsaken Jesse Smollett shit that
Yeah,
they're
like
putting out.
So his sister,
No, Birds of
Journey.
Prey, the girl who played
Yeah, Journey Smollett, his sister.
oh yeah, yeah. No, I don't want to see her play it again. And they're giving her her own
Why? Because she's black.
TV show. No, because her fucking shit sucked.
I mean,
well
I
done.
didn't see Birds of Prey. So. I'll take your word for it.
I heard it. Nice ponytail, by the way. Donnie, give us a spin while I think of something.
What?
Give us a 360. The audience,
Uh,
look at that, everyone. It's marvelous. But in any case, I want to see Tom King's what's his guy? Fuck, I just had it. It's about the new gods which were made by like Jack Kirby, and I know everybody knows Dark Side, which was like the
the
big.
52? The new 52?
Oh no, that was like an initiative to make things more modern.
Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Miracle is what it's called. Like so Jack Kirby, like back in the day when he was like helping Stanley, made made this like race of new gods who were supposed to replace the old ones. They had like their own two planets and like constant like cosmic warfare. But it
Mhm.
was kind of weirdly written, so it never popped off. But like recently, this guy called Tom King made a story about this one new god called like Mr. Miracle. He's an escape artist, and his whole thing was like he was sent to like a demonic planet where he was tortured the entire time since like childhood. Like and like his thing was that he would always try to escape and always fail every single time. And they would torture him worse and worse, but it never broke his spirit. Meanwhile, he escapes to Earth with his wife, who's like this basically it's like 6.6.5 feet tall, fucking badass like Wonder Woman kind of chick, but actually like likable. And he
Wait,
goes there.
Giganta?
No, Big Barda is what is her name. Yeah, she doesn't get giant. She's like she's like not as tall as Shaq, but like basically like basketball player height, but like really buff too, and she's hot. But that's besides the point. He comes to the planet and he lives here on Earth. He works with Severe, but he has PTSD from being tortured his entire life in his childhood. The reason he was on that planet is because like his father gave him up at childbirth as a peace offering, and he was raised by a bunch of sadistic maniacs. But like he comes to Earth, he has PTSD and he has like a suicide attempt and whatnot, and like the rest of the story is just him trying to come to grips with whether or not he actually succeeded or not. And like it's crazy cosmic, it's crazy personal, and like he eventually like actually fights the dark side, which is something we've been waiting from DC for years. So it's such a good story, and it
Sounds
definitely
like my type of story.
right. I was as I was saying, I was like, oh man, Donnie might like this a little too much,
Suicide, PTSD.
and
Sign me up.
overcoming it and having a family.
Okay, so Dark Side or Thanos? if we was doing like a clash of, that's what
With or without the Infinity Gauntlet?
without,
Oh,
because Thanos
gotcha.
was still whooping ass without it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some debate over whether or not he actually beat the Hulk. Like people are saying, "Oh, yeah, the Power Stone." Nah, I think he would have beat his ass anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Thanos was just more of a. He has years and years of like fighting, and he wasn't necessarily fighting him. He more so just was like countering with like slight defense mechanisms. So yeah.
do you guys have any hopes for like the new main bad of this new phase of the MCU? Fuck,
Um,
what's his name?
damn.
Kang,
Um, yeah,
Kang.
Kane the Conqueror.
they're doing some. It's good so far.
I
I
gotta
mean,
say the last
I'd
few
rather have
scenes,
Galactus, man.
of Loki was pretty chilling.
If this
Yeah,
shit don't, if this shit don't end with Galactus, man, then the MCU they did this whole thing wrong.
I
I
mean,
kind of weird because like Galactus, he's really only a threat to your planet, but you just had a guy who like killed half the universe. It's just like I don't know, like it's a weird switch.
yeah. How do
But
you
just
come back
seeing
from
like
that?
Galactus though on screen, I just think like for like the on screen purposes, that would just be like amazing because we
I
never
mean,
seen someone of that. Well, we just might with the in the Eternals with
I
the
was
whole
about to say, yeah,
Yeah, he might
right.
make an appearance there if anything.
a post credit scene or something like that.
And also the Beyonder as well.
The Eternals better be doing some good
Because
shit. 'Cause, like everyone's mad at Wakanda for not helping Africa. What about the Eternals for not helping?
Yeah, like come on, there's no excuse. I don't give a
I
fuck what
thought,
they.
is it because they don't interfere with earthly affairs?
Yeah, they're only supposed to deal with the deviants or something like that. They're cousins.
Sounds racist to me. I'm just saying, like you don't like deviants, so you just hunt them down all the
Yeah,
time and be like, you're gonna
but
interfere.
yeah, they're not allowed to interfere.
We don't need you to fight monsters. We got people for that.
I know I kind of went on track a little bit, but there's any comic book heroes that you guys that we have not seen on the big screen yet that you guys want to see on the big screen? Because I already know for me it's Galactus and also the Beyonder as well. But what about for like you guys?
Um, besides Mr. Miracle, I don't know, because like we've already gone so much. It's like a hit or miss sometimes. Like sometimes you're better off just not having your character ruined on the big screen. But I don't know. Huh. That hasn't. That's the thing. That hasn't been adapted already. If I did, it wouldn't be like a Marvel or DC comic. You know what I mean? Because like there's a bigger world out there. Well,
Yeah,
something.
there's actually a few.
Yeah, probably The Invisibles by Grant Morrison. Like that's a story that based people say inspired the original Matrix, but it goes way off the walls, quick crazy. Like it's a basic premise, like that some people control the world, and there are only a few people who realize that and who fight back. Basic premise, but like while the Matrix was like all like technological at most, this one goes takes a left turn. It's like magic. It's like psychedelics. It's like some crazy shit. Like my guy uh, has a meditation session that he talks to John Lennon and he gets high on psychedelics and he gets John Lennon to write a song for him because John Lennon has turned into the god of music or some shit. That was like the first few issues.
Sounds like my
No,
type of
David,
story.
that sounds like a story.
I'm just
I
I'm just sending you the links. It's called The Invisibles by Grant
Okay,
Morrison.
cool.
He
that
is
sounds.
he made decent stuff.
As you were saying, I'm like, yeah, this is Donovan's story.
Yeah. Donovan, you
um,
got anything?
yeah, I mean it's already been done, but I would like to see a more accurate description of Black Canary and a bigger, larger life role for Green Arrow. But we already have Arrow, so and I think that was pretty good, even though it was too Batman-y for me. But
Describe that. What's too Batman-y?
because I mean, with Ra's al Ghul, Deathstroke, the billionaire side of basically Oliver Queen was created to be like a more dumbed down version of Batman, if I'm not mistaken. And I felt like they took it to the extreme with stuff like that. So
On the DC side, I'd like to see Giganta as a big bad in a Wonder Woman film.
you just want her to get big so you can look up her skirt.
No, I just like seeing giant characters on screen. That's why I liked the whole Godzilla versus Kong.
what about Ant-Man? You didn't like that?
He doesn't look that much.
That's child's play.
Yeah, I think the second movie was really good. I think they'll do good things with the third movie because I don't know, like Ant-Man gets weird sciencey real quick, and that's what I like. Like I never liked Iron Man that much because it was like a little too realistic. It never got weird. Ant-Man gets weird with the science, so I like it.
It seems like the next phase of like MCU is just heading more into like a more mature and otherworldly.
It's more sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I can't even compare modern Marvel to like Phase One. Phase One was ass actually if you think about it.
Look at the costumes and
the costumes in the first Avengers movie were terrible.
I look at the Captain America in the first Avengers and I'm like, fuck, man, how the fuck they get you to agree to that? But I guess money talks.
But yeah. Oh well, if you ask me, I think it's about time to wrap things up. How you guys feeling?
Yeah, football started.
Well, let's plug in all our things. We got Liddell, which you can plug in your own thing, I guess.
Follow me on IG at Liddell the Fashionista. I'm also the moderator and the True Agriculture Instagram page. So you want anything in regards to like interviews, New Music Monday posts, or next up interview inquiries, or like event coverages, just holler at me for that. We've been killing it this past month with Afropunk. Just did the ACL Festival out in Austin, Texas. I've been pretty dope. So yeah, we out here.
Who did you get to go there, or did you go?
Allison Nefa, she's out there in Texas, so she went for it.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to you, Allison.
Well, I'm just Kelly. Here's my IG. I'm not really doing anything but posting thirst traps every now and then, or I will. Who knows? Who knows what I'll post?
Hey, you want to see his tattoo? Check out his IG stories.
Yeah, all my tattoos. I'm a tattoo model now.
You know, by the time this episode airs, that shit gonna be gone. That story's gonna be gone.
I know. But Dottie, what you got?
You could just follow me down below.
Follow him down below.
Yes.
Praise him. And please like, share, and subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on our own channel, of course, and we're
also podcast
on,
network.
Exactly, and we're also on Instagram. I don't. Do we have a Facebook?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you follow us there. We're on most social media outlets, and please like, share, and subscribe, and talk about us. Just talk about it.
See you next week, y'all.
Bye.